Gevo has signed a new deal, and the future of the company, both long and short term, will depend on this deal. And this is what this video is about. And we don't beat around the bush on this channel. The deal is on the screen right now. Gevo and Accents Inc. Alliance for ethanol to jet technology. And two things are very important from this deal: both ethanol and jet technology. And why is ethanol incredibly important? Well, many things have changed over the last few months, and that's what we're gonna have a look at right now. This is the price of ethanol over the last years, and actually, as you can see, over 2020 and 2021, we saw a massive spike, and this price that we are paying today for ethanol is as high as in 2014 or even 2015, and that is incredibly high compared to 2020. So the increase in price means more revenue for Gevo. That is very important. Keep it in mind, because later it will become very handy to understand the future. And why is ethanol incredibly important? Well, because Gevo has got actually a production facility that can capitalize on the price of ethanol. Let me show you. So Gevo plant in Luverne, Minnesota, is basically able to produce ethanol. It is an ethanol plant that was built to capitalize on the government regulations that encourage the use of ethanol blend stock in gasoline. And this is the reason why there is the deal with Accents. And then later we're gonna have a look at the impact short term of this deal, of the use and production of ethanol for Gevo. So stay tuned. But now let's focus on another very important factor, because if you haven't been living under a rock, you know that many other commodities have gone up in price. One important one is obviously oil, and that is very important for Gevo. Let me show you why. Now, first of all, let me show you the price of crude oil that has gone up, has skyrocketed over the last month. And if you've been subscribed to this channel, you know that I've been telling you this. To be honest, I've made a couple of videos and I bought into oil, and I've made quite a lot of money. I'm up over 100%. But to go back to Gevo, because obviously look at Gevo, make videos on Gevo, the price of oil is at the same price as 2014, which is incredibly high compared to last year's price. But what we were looking at is normal oil that is extracted from the earth. The other oil we are very interested in is what Gevo and other producers can make. It is renewable and eco-friendly oil, and this is what seems to be in demand right now. So this is a bit of news that was very important and is still quite important. UK fuel crisis. Was eco-petrol really the cause of the nation's shortages? Now, if you look at what eco-petrol is E10 that has got a higher percentage of ethanol in it. So this is why Gevo is very important, because they are trying to produce more ethanol, more isobutanol, so they are getting ready to be able to produce more of these compounds. They will be mixed together to produce petrol. This is again very important, because as you can see, the demand of green petrol is actually going up. But I hear what you're saying. You want to know about the short term. What is Gevo going to do short term? Well, let me show you. I've actually given you already a lot of hints, and now we are gonna dig deeper into it. Now, this is the chart for Gevo, the Gevo price. And as you can see, what we've been struggling with were earnings over the last months. So we've been losing and not actually just going under the earnings expectations. Now, based on the latest expectations, which will be on the 12th of October, and the day the earnings will come out, which is the 15th of November, we look like we are more or less in line to what the expectations were in August, which was the last earning. But this time we have the production of ethanol, and this will make a massive difference, because this time we have a very strong chance of potentially beating expectations. And look what happened when we beat expectations in November. Look, this is the spike of the stock after we beat expectations. And what about medium term for Gevo? Well, let's have a look at that as well. That is very important. But please remember that Gevo is a long-term investment. We'll go over that later in the video, how long you should be holding it, because I'm a holder myself, and it's very important that you understand that this company is for the long-term hold. But let's not sidetrack. Gevo for the medium term, there is Net Zero 1, which is expected to transform the renewable energy into energy-dense liquid. But what is really important is this, that Gevo is expected to complete the front-end engineering work for Net Zero 1 by the end of 2021. So this project would be the flagship for the other plants that will come up. But what is really important to understand is that at the end of this year, the plant will not be able to produce straight away, and they will actually require some more capital. So that's very important to understand. On top of that, the latest estimate for the actual production of Net Zero 1 seems to be the end of 2022. So we'll look at that and we'll keep you up to date on this channel for any news on Net Zero 1 and on Gevo in general. So for a midterm estimate, this is what we have on Gevo. So current year, it looks like we are gonna make an overall revenue of 1.4 million, which means that the analysts actually hope that Gevo will actually be able to make way more revenues in this last part of the year. And that obviously links to the production of ethanol and everything that can be produced in Luverne. Now, on top of that, next year, 2022, and this is what many channels don't talk about, looking already at next year, it looks like the average estimate is already about 4 million revenue for 2022. In terms of sales growth, that will mean a whopping 221% increase year on year. Now, like I said, this is more of a long-term company. Medium term, we might be able to rack up some more revenues, and that's what I just showed you. But you imagine that in terms of the overall market, not just Gevo, Gevo is just one company in the energy sector. There are so many other catalysts, so many other factors, including the Federal Reserve monetary policies. More on that on my next videos. But what is happening overall is that the market seems to be moving towards stocks that are more stable, that are already cash flow positive. That's to start with. And on top of that, Gevo should be able to become cash flow positive, but it seems to be a very long-term thing. So we might see some very volatile times ahead. Even though I am sure that Gevo will become one of the biggest players in the renewable energy sector, and let me show you why. Now, at the time of recording, as I told you, that Gevo doesn't have any plants producing an awful lot of renewable energy, renewable fuel. Though, even just based on that, they do actually have a lot of contracts, approximately $1.6 billion in take-or-pay contracts in place. And also, and this is more of a, I just want you to take it with a pinch of salt, they have another $20 billion of actively discussed contracts that are being negotiated with high-quality customers. So like I said, this is for the long term, and the majority of the contracts, as they say here, is for 6 to 7 year term. So basically that means that it's for the absolutely long term. And for me, my personal target for Gevo, this is what we are looking at, 6 to 7 year term. And that is both for the price to go very high and, most importantly, for the company to become profitable. But the question is Gevo a buy right now or not? What is the consensus of the analysts? I'm not an analyst, let me show you what they say. But what's really important, and this is literally pay so much close attention to this, these are the price targets. First of all, 3 analysts out of 3 said that Gevo is a buy right now. But then in terms of price targets, and I'm gonna zoom in with the hope that we're gonna see better. So the low price target for Gevo is $10, which means 48% based on today's price. So that's an incredible upside for Gevo to just go to $10. And I will make more video updates when any news on Gevo come out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.